I don't think he had ever thought at that point that one day he would become what the artist that he is today.
Because he wasn't originally a singer. He wasn't originally a rapper. And here he is now like performing on stages for hours.
Hi everyone, my name is Cece.
I'm Chris Wally.
And this is Pod in the Verse, a fan-first podcast that explores everything about the music world.
Here to take K-pop further than ever, episode by episode, we'll get to know other fans and dive into the latest content.
So, grab your headphones,
get comfortable,
and dive into the pod with us.
So, Cece, I brought a couple of things for today's episode.
I'm excited. I have noticed that there's a theme going on.
I mean, I have these of my personal collection of items.
Yes, please introduce them to us and to our audience what your personal collection is about.
Well, if the audience has noticed, all of them relate to like one person or a group and somebody from that group. But today we're talking about J-Hope. So I decided to bring a couple of my favorite items of his.
Which I think is perfect timing because now that J-Hope has announced his world tour and we're seeing him very, very soon, it's perfect for us to get to know his background, like who he is as an artist and as a person.
Yeah, and just it's great to talk more about someone who has been in K-pop for so long and achieved so much, but it hasn't been an easy journey for him.
Right. I know that we've both had our own little research time to get to know his history a little bit. But what do you think you've learned? Like, what's your biggest takeaway?
Honestly, when I see somebody like him who's a performer, like he's someone who is very diligent, because to have started his career from only being like a dancer when he was in his dance crew and evolve into someone who could lead his own group as like a dance captain and further even have his own solo career and now even do festivals and a concert, like only by working persistently and being determined and also, taking a chance on yourself, can you even like achieve something like that?
Which I think is crazy because I remember one of his interviews, he had said that his passion was in dancing and that he just, it was like a talent show that he participated in because he just went on with his friends and was like, I like dancing. And then after the talent show, he was like, wait, I actually have talent. And so he joined like a dance crew back in his hometown. And I don't think he had ever thought at that point that one day he would become what the artist that he is today. So it's crazy how life really took like a 180 for him, right?
Yeah. And again, to your point, like it's one thing to have talent, but it's another thing to put the work towards that.
Yeah.
And he's proof that like, sure, of course, your talent will take you super far, but it's that dedication and it's that persistence that'll take you that much further because he wasn't originally a singer. He wasn't originally a rapper. And here he is now like performing on stages for hours.
In the behind the scenes that you can see of him crafting his album, he's also like, I personally like, I listened to Arson just on the radio once. Like I think DJ Spotify had like recommended it to me and I loved that song, but I didn't know the story behind it. And you can see how he's just like kept in his studio and he's just writing every single like line and then he puts in so much effort and detail into everything, which really goes on to show the person that he is.
He's an intentional artist. I will say that because everything he does is crafted. Like he tries to really create a story and a message for fans and not just fans. I think even for people like himself who are interested in art, really want to give their all to it, but that, sometimes there are some not so great things that come with it, but you have to keep reminding yourself to keep going because of the things that you originally loved. And which is a theme I think he explores in the J-Hope on the Street documentary, where he felt like, I wanted to do something with dance because I wanted to show my fans, like, me dancing with different people that I look up to, but also me rediscovering myself as a dancer. Something really interesting he talks about is how when you are a dancer the way he is and you're in like these freestyle crews, you have your own identity, your own way of dancing. But once you join a group, you are no longer dancing just for yourself. Now you're dancing in a group. There's a different way you have to maneuver yourself. And so after being with the group for so long, he had to rediscover like what his sense of dance is and his sense of style is.
Which is which is actually interesting because he had discovered that part of himself when he was younger and he was dancing a dance crew. But then once he joined BTS and like had to train, because clearly like I think his background in dancing versus what an idol style training is like completely different. And so I think rediscovering himself as a team member, and then after so many years of being in a team and then rediscovering himself again as a solo artist, that must have been like a challenge after challenge after challenge. And he also mentioned in his documentary that he like was assigned as like the unofficial like dance captain because of the intense background that he had and like how precise he was. And I think it's interesting because like he has so much b-boy style, so much hip-hop, but then at the same time you think that it's so creative and like so free, but then at the same time it's so precise, right?
Yeah. And there's still a way things have to be done. And so I feel like it was really cool and on the street to see him in a more free flowing way that wasn't like on a specific, like you have to do it this way, execute it perfectly every time. It was more about feeling the vibe rather than trying to dance perfectly.
I remember that my first time getting to know J-Hope as a solo artist was through his collaboration with Becky G for Chicken Noodle Soup. And I just remember being like, what? Like, J-Hope like in a Spanish song? Like that's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was more so biased because I'm like, wow, I'm like a US Hispanic, like another one just like me collaborating with like an old school song because it's not like that dance in that song I think was like popular in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So like, yeah, Chicken Noodle Soup, like that's the song that was before and they completely redid it and made it.
The song.
They completely redid it and made it their own. And seeing Becky dancing alongside him too and so many people and that really cool set I think out in LA that they did it in, it was such a fun and vibrant video. And I think it shows why he's somebody who could even go towards to having like a solo career because he's such a performer and is so good at bringing something different to everything he does.
Right, because I think the thing about J-Hope is that there's so many layers to what you think is a performance, right? It's like, of course you have the talent for dancing, but you need to have the charisma to carry yourself on stage. But also like when he was a team, I think you need the talent to blend in a group.
Yeah.
But you also need to have your own individuality, which I think is very interesting.
It's honestly so cool because then you see him in I still believe this one is for the Jack in the Box when he did the Lollapalooza performance. They did a documentary for that one too. And you can see that even though he's been preparing so much, like having like a team member there with him even helped him get through that because it is such a different thing to dedicate a whole stage to yourself when you're so used to doing it in a group.
Yeah. And now that he's the first one of the group to go on a solo tour after like a 2-year. It's been almost 2 years of a break, right?
Yeah, because Suga went first right before they enlisted. But he's after military service, he's the first to just run straight into it.
And I feel like fans must be so excited. You guys must be so excited for the whole concert and just like the experience that will bring, the events that will be happening locally as well.
Yes, there's so many cool events coming up for the fans to like be in community with each other while enjoying his newest project.
Yeah. So I know that there's so many things that are happening and it's so exciting.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our next section so that we can introduce them one by one.
Yes, let's do it. So let's go into the Weverse wrap-up.
Now that we've moved on to our updates on Weverse for our Weverse wrap-up section, what has been happening? What have you heard of?
Okay, so there is so much happening with J-Hope because it's a big time for him. It's huge. So there's actually a couple of fan events, but the main one because I think there were a couple that have been happening, but the LA fan event that's happening April 2nd.
April 2nd, right?
Yes, April 2nd in LA.
It's something that we've been talking about the whole episode, but fans can come together after such a long time of waiting for him. And also, I heard that J-Hope had a new single come out called Sweet Dreams featuring Miguel.
Oh my gosh. Another proud Latino.
Yes. Another amazing collaboration that we wouldn't have seen so many years ago. And we're so proud to see now.
So proud and so excited to just keep listening. Last time we spoke about Hearts to Hearts because they had just debuted in February, but you told me that you found a really cool fact.
I did. So while I was scrolling through the comments, there was this really cool like comment that was saying, Carmen is the first Indonesian girl to debut under such a big company.
Wow.
And I thought that was crazy because whenever I go on Instagram and I go on my For You page, I always get like fan recommended like content, and it's always in Indonesian. And so I always thought like, oh my God, yeah, like the community there is so big. And so it's crazy to see that like someone from their community has been able to make that representation for them, right?
Yeah, and that's amazing to see because, like you said, they've been a part of the fandom for so long. So it's great for them to see their representation. And it reminds me of another girl that debuted in a global girl group. So Sophia from the Philippines.
Yeah.
I remember at that time too, like Filipino K-pop fans were really excited.
I remember like going to like the Dream Academy account at that time, and it was like all the flags of the Philippines. It was like filled with them.
Yeah, it's just great to see people who love this music and this industry and put so much into it also have their people like become part of it as artists themselves.
Yeah, I feel like I'm so glad that K-pop has reached a point where people can see themselves being represented on stage. I think those were a couple of highlights about what happened this past week on Weverse. As always, I feel like there's just so much going on in the fandom. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. And
we can't catch it all.
Sometimes I send you text messages and I'm like, did you see this? Like I feel like there's just so much going on.
I know. But what does help is I do always have my notifications on. But that's also why I can miss things sometimes because
there's so much going on, right?
Yeah.
So that was what happened on Weverse this week. There are other updates as always, so make sure that you tap into Weverse to see what else is happening.
Yep.
So now, moving on to the fan zone. We've collaborated with our friends in the US to go to the J-Hope fan event in New York to get to know you guys. Like, we really wanted to know what you guys loved about J-Hope's concert, what you guys are looking forward to for his upcoming songs, and just to get to know you guys as ARMYs. And so let's stop talking and let's go ahead and watch and listen to those interviews.
I'm just excited to see him perform. I think he's such a performance person, right? Like watching his stage presence is just like everything. I just love the atmosphere being with ARMY and just the energy from the performance from J-Hope is an incredible performer.
I'm most excited to go with a friend. She's my concert buddy and we go everywhere together. We also saw Yoongi together, so I'm really excited to have fun with my best friend.
This whole performance at Lollapalooza, every single stage was just amazing, and I watch it on repeat at least twice a month.
But one for me so special, it was when he came to New York for New Year's on Times Square. That made me sleep on the street in the rain, so I was there. It was the first time that I had the opportunity to see him. It was magical.
Hobie Dior. Hobie Dior will forever be my saving grace. I love Hobie Dior.
My favorite J-Hope song is, of course, Chicken Noodle Soup, because I grew up listening to that song, and with him remixing it, I just fell in love with it at the first listen.
Maybe Daydream. I think the first time I ever heard it, I was like, I need to hear this live, and then I got to go to Hobie Palooza and hear it for the first time, so I'm excited to hear it again.
Baseline is badass.
Right off the bat, probably just from Safe Zone. Where's My Safe Zone? I used to listen to that song on repeat a lot when I was having a hard time in school, so it brought me a lot of comfort during my studies.
Safety Zone's my favorite. It just really, it's a song that really moved like my soul. I think when I first heard it, I just had to move. I was just so moved by it.
Arzan. I think the song is so great. The choreography, fire. He's so fire.
I really love Future and also Hope World and also Daydream.
So my favorite J-Hope song has to be Verse 1 or Daydream. But I also love when he performed Mama.
J-Hope, I love your dancing. Keep dancing. You inspire me to continue dancing, even though I'm not the best, but I'm gonna keep trying. and good luck on everything that you continue to do.
I just want to say thank you so much for your music, your performance, everything that you are. It is because of your music I started dancing again. and I will dance to your music forever. Thank you.
That I love him so much. He's an inspiration not just for my life, but so many people's in the world. He's doing a great job. He's an amazing person, and I hope that one day he go to Brazil.
Thank you so much for always just being such a positive force in everyone's life. You are so hardworking and so just inspirational, and I have never danced before, but I am here gonna have fun and try my best. So thank you for just being an inspiration, and yeah.
We love you, Hobie. We'll always support you, Hobie, and you're gonna kill it, Hobie. Thank you so much for inspiring me, helping me. You're a wonderful person. We love you so much.
Wow, like those clips were amazing. I kind of felt like I was there with them.
I know. I kind of feel the FOMO. Like
I
wish we
feel
were
it.
there too to like experience the whole dance class.
Next
and
time
get
I'm
to know
going.
people.
I'm going.
It was great getting to know you guys as ARMYs and as J-Hope fans, and there's more events coming up.
Oh my God,
there's
for
always
sure.
things going on, as we've mentioned so many times. So stay connected to our socials. We will see you guys at the next event. You never know where you guys can catch us. So thank you so much for tuning in to the second episode of the Pod in the Verse.
Remember, you can always catch us weekly. We'll be back next week, so we hope to see you there.
Yeah. So this was Cece.
This is Chris Molly.
And this was
Pod in the Verse.
Bye.